I think more of my experience has been with the fact that it's very triggering for men to see a person in their early 20s instruct you about sex,
Yeah.
telling you what is okay and not okay.
Yeah.
So I have been at the butt end of some microaggressions that are completely unnecessary.
Hello, Ankita.
Hello, Damayanti, how are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to in Mumbai? Like, both of us have known each other for a while, but we didn't expect either of us to get into films at all.
True.
Yeah, you studied sociology also, right? Or did you
Yeah.
study psychology? I also studied sociology.
Which college were you in?
I was in Flame University in Pune. Yeah.
Rishton and all.
Yeah, I went there to st thinking I'm going to study film, then I just ended up studying sociology, which I'm happy about. But yeah, like what was your journey and how did you, since when have you been in this? When did you get to Mumbai?
I got to Bombay right after lockdown. Like lockdown happened, I think I came back and I knew I wanted to get out of Calcutta for some reason because I did not want to work there. And so I started like prepping for all of the exams and I got into Xavier's film and television. So I quickly left, but we were the lockdown batch, so I knew sort of what I was getting into. We
Hmm.
didn't study.
Yeah.
Nobody taught us anything. We were just asked to sit at home. And I think there was a point in that film school where we made films with cardboard boxes के अंदर bulb घुसा के light डाल के. Like there were points where home filmmaking at its peak.
Right.
So I think that was happening back in 2021. And then because we were having such an erratic college life, I chose to start working in Bombay when I'd already moved. Like I knew that eventually, like when you have to get out of college, everybody will be scrambling for work. And this opportunity came to me very nicely because I'd previously worked with this one person named Astha, who back in second year of college, and I was just like interning as a DA on some Bengali film. And so she came. So I met her in Bombay and she was like, "Will you be my assistant?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it was getting to learn to be on film sets, which was my biggest agenda. And I felt like it doesn't hurt because it completely aligns with sociology, filmmaking. And I, always wanted to study further. I wanted to study gender way more detail than I did in college. And I was like, okay, this is a very interesting path which sort of assimilates both fields and still keeps me close to actors in terms of wanting to learn from them because eventually the goal was to be an actor. And that is how this sort of like came into my life. So I assisted for a year, and then as when you're an assistant, your time isn't really yours, right? You're answering to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got my certification as an intimacy coordinator, and then after that, I started doing my projects independently, which gave me the time to focus on acting.
Mm.
So it was essentially like a little bit of a planned maneuver of life. I was like, okay, let's assist for a year. Then I started my projects, and now that has been going on. It's
Mm.
been 4 years, about 20, 30 projects, I think. So now, like a sort of nice place. It's nice to know that the industry is hiring intimacy coordinators, and there are like 11 or 12 of us all together.
That's not a lot objectively, but thinking of like how like recently it started out, it's quite a lot of people, right? And yeah,
It's not a lot of people, I would say, still, because they are mainly
okay.
focused around Mumbai and Delhi, right?
Mm.
There's one person in Delhi, mostly everyone is in Mumbai, and there's one person who's in Chennai.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she's still continuing with her intimacy coordinator job either.
So it's
So
mostly Bollywood that's hiring intimacy
mostly
partner.
Bombay. I mean, people from Chennai, Malayali film industry, they'll call us and be like, come.
Mm.
So unless you can, it again becomes a thing of affordability, right? Like an independent filmmaker, let's say from Andhra, will be like, bro, budget nahi hai. How will
Mm-hmm.
I go down? So yeah, there is a dearth of intimacy coordinators in the country altogether. But having also said that, the certification course is primary to your job.
Okay.
Um, we've also had instances in the past where people have just come out of intimacy scenes, like actors who have done intimacy scenes for, let's say, any series, like those type B films and series which have intimacy. They've come out of those scenes and they've watched some videos about intimacy coordination and gone to producers and been like, I've done intimacy scenes, I'm an intimacy coordinator, I can do the job.
Okay.
And I'm like, ये चल क्या रहा है? Because they will be like, they'll take minimal, less than an extras per day, and be like, we love
Okay.
you for the job.
Hmm.
The credibility is something that holds it together, and I understand that it is a expensive course to do.
Hmm.
But to go into doing this job without adequate information, knowledge, and education is a big risk.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like all these people are, I mean, the hustle, I understand. Like, it's like try to get any work while you're, I mean, for most of us, or a lot of us at least, I think there is a long arc to like reaching the kind of work that you really actually personally want to do. Like, I know you've been like an actress for so long and you want to do acting also. So, I mean, in that arc, you try to do like learn as much as possible. Most people try to get into set and like, so you've carved a very interesting path, which is like so close to acting, I guess. Like, you are sort of, how I understand it, you are like speaking for the actor in the like on set.
It's not just speaking for the actor. I think
Hmm.
you become like a sort of point of contact between the crew and the cast. For the things that they might not be openly okay to discuss with the director or the costume person or the set director or the DOP.
Hmm.
So you sort of like relay information and you safeguard the actors in that process, because a set is a volatile place. I'm not saying everybody is volatile there, but I'm saying a moment can lead to a moment and that moment can have a certain impact on you. And especially when it comes to a scene of simulated sex or kissing, everybody's vulnerabilities are on display, right?
Hmm.
At that point, your issues about either your body or some experience in the past is palpating, and
Hmm.
you have to perform and deliver in that environment. Plus, like, you're sweating, it's hot, मच्छर आ रहा है, body tape निकल रही है, boob slip, this that, 40 men on set turning around with lights, walking in whenever the hell they want to. So all of those things, they just require some level of protection and safekeeping. And then it comes down to being able to use the correct language and understanding, or being able to see what a situation is transpiring to be, or to
Hmm.
be able to foresee what could happen. Yeah, so that I think mostly it's not just for the actor, which I think is a
Hmm.
very big. I've met female directors who've had difficulty trying to communicate what they want in their scene,
Right. Okay.
because it's also a question of sex positivity, right?
Hmm.
How you are thinking, are you able to express? Do you think what you are thinking is wrong?
Hmm.
So therefore you're hesitating to say, or you're just awkward, or you don't know how that will reflect, or if you're using the correct lingo.
Right. Yeah.
So to be able to get that communication from a filmmaker and say, you know what, okay, maybe I think this is where your scene is going towards.
Hmm.
Navigate it here. Okay, let's say you're thinking this. Okay, let's build on this. So yeah. And then you work it with the actors. The actors know that there is a scene of intimacy involved. It's not a
Hmm.
surprise to them. How much, what the extent is, how far they are comfortable to do what is then something that you come in on the job and then figure out.
And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I always used to wonder, like earlier when we were young, I think it was sort of like this idea that sex scenes just happen with a lot of passion and like no one, like I never thought about how it's directed. And then I've seen these directors talking about like the pre-intimacy coordinator era, where just it's the strangest of instructions. Someone is like, they used to show with their fingers, you do this, you do this. And then when intimacy coordination sort of started picking up, I was imagining like what it would be like. And there was this sort of idea that it's mostly about like, speaking through boundaries and stuff like that. And then I guess like I started understanding it more when in fact, I saw a clip of yours. You were coordinating a scene, and then it just kind of looked like a sort of choreography that you were creating with the actors, like you were demonstrating something. I don't know if that's always what you do, but now that I think about it, it seems like if you think about it in terms of choreography or even like stunt coordination, it's like it's not just about boundaries, it's also quite creative, and it's a different kind of direction. Like you can see how the scene comes out creatively is very different depending on how it's coordinated. So, I mean, what was like time on set or like a scene where you were like, okay, this is how, like, where you were happy or you found it interesting the way that it turned out, or, like if you wanted to talk about the creative part of your job.
Yeah. I think, see, as a person, you're essentially collaborating, right? And any individual is either writing from their experiences or writing from shared experiences. When I'm talking about the writer or the director, even with an intimacy coordinator, I think there is only so much personal experience you have to color in. You know how creatives are expected to be honest about their life's portrayals. I think that is a very bullshit thing. You can make up a story, but to
Yeah.
understand relationships, you just have to, like, I think you take your characters, you see the journey that they're on, and every individual going through a particular emotion develops a body language, right? I think that's where my process starts because there is only so much that the actor will be able to color in with personal experience, which I don't think is the best space to tap into
Hmm.
while doing intimacy work at all.
Hmm.
As for the director, the writer, they are also looking at some point of reference that they have, right? Either they've looked at something or they are trying to particularly show a relationship or their camera moves like this. There's a look and feel and tone to the scene that they are coming in with. They are very sure that, okay, this particular scene needs to be fast paced. Things need to drop. There
Hmm.
is a lot of electricity, there's almost out of breath energy. These are the things that they are coming with,
Hmm.
and the actors know their characters. So what I like to do then is work. We always do a workshop before going on set, and that is when we actually sit and create. What can we do?
Hmm.
So the part of the process then becomes figuring out boundaries and then seeing what actions can come into place. I will give them, let's say, a rough choreography. Okay, you come in, you're sort of like standing against the wall, then you flip over, then you fall to the ground, then we cut to this, that.
Silly question, possibly. Is the like the DOP also part of this workshop, like when this is being coordinated?
First, I will discuss with the actors. But what happens is, okay, so the process is basically you go and you do a meeting with the director first, you see what the brief is. If they have a little bit of a short breakdown in their head, then you keep that in your notes. Then you go back to the actors, figure out the scene, and see how it fits into the short breakdown. What you get to do creatively is add those extra elements. The creative process is actually involved with limitations because let's say an actor has said, I am not okay with thrusting. What are the other options do I have? Then I can't show two flowers,
Okay.
right? I can just stay on the actor's face then instead of going to the hands and this happening, bedsheet pulling happening, cliched shots. They happen if the filmmaker chooses to make them apart, thinks it is essential. But we are always trying to then creatively come up with ways what do we stress on. It could be enough that I see one finger over here. If it's a scene of violence, I could see like one finger over here piercing in, and I don't
Hmm.
essentially need to show everything else. The other,
Hmm.
but then the gaze factor comes in. How you are looking at it, where your lens is placed is also going to determine. So I think the creative process comes from everywhere. If I feel
Hmm.
like I will also sometimes be like, my mother used to do this naki naki thing, bachpan mein, and that's very cute between couples. So like when you take a lot from seen intimacy or lived intimacy and then you put it with the knowledge of gaze, the context that gaze would play, then you
Mm.
figure out that's I think a huge part of the creative decision making also, because that is essentially determining what you are doing with this particular scene, and nobody wants to
Yeah.
see a scene which is like brightly lit, people
Mm.
are like a dimly lit emotive scene that conveys what a particular character is feeling is going to hit me way more than a scene just purely done for sex's sake.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, where the creative involvement comes in. And did you, sorry,
Yeah.
does that answer
Mm.
your question? Or were
Yeah,
you
I think
like a particular series or film?
no, no, I think this like when I think of a sex scene or an intimacy scene, I think like it often like almost makes or breaks a film for me. Like especially when you're talking about gays, like that's where that often feels like the litmus test for the film, which is like okay, the entire time you're talking about, let's say like a woman's freedom or something, and then you when you have a violence scene or sexual violence and you deal with it badly, it's a huge thing that really sort of affects the narrative of the film.
I think I want to say this that, it's not always up to us
Hmm.
to fully change the gaze. We can suggest changing the gaze.
Hmm. Okay.
At the end of the day, it becomes the filmmaker's decision
Okay.
as to
Right.
what they want to do with that. Then your
Yeah.
primary job becomes protecting the actor,
Right.
protecting anybody else on set who might need a little respite from that, like not comfortable
Right.
intimacy. Can I step out?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or telling the actor, okay, this is your full back shot, yeah. Go take a look at the monitor. If you
Hmm.
like it, we will say okay to this.
Hmm.
So then it becomes relaying that information, because clearly the actor has also made a decision and gotten into something. I have made a decision and gotten into something.
Right.
Now I can't go back to the director and fully turn my views around and be
Of
like,
course. Yeah.
do it by my. That is not, you're assisting the gaze of any director.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You're coming in with your own stuff, but also it is their vision at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I
That's true.
think you have to constantly keep shifting between what your priorities are on set at points. I don't want to say priorities actually. I just want what your focus is at that point. To
Hmm.
read that situation, okay, this needs to be done here, or this particular gaze cannot be maneuvered here. So what can I do best to protect my actors then? Or what can I do best to make sure that this gaze is at least, like, if it's feeling jarring to me, extremely masculine to me, how can I put my most little max effort into make the most little transition just be like, no, you will not tilt down to her legs,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
those fights, she's coming, she's taking off her clothes, all of that is
Yeah.
happening, suddenly there's a tilt down. Why? Taking off her clothes, no, hold on, why do you need to tilt down to her legs or doing like it's there in her upper body.
So yeah, it sounds like a lot of negotiations and all of that. And you are looking at the monitor also, and you have to tell, I mean, you have to communicate with almost all like the major parts of the set, right? I mean, on the set, it's such a like charged environment. Everyone is like, go, 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 go. And I don't know, like in your experience, but like you are a young woman working with these like possibly very senior, often male crew members, and like even if that gender aspect is not there, there is that like as a newcomer, okay, if it's mostly there when you go on set, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like you don't want to like be too much of a like you don't want to hold up the process too much. You want to make your contribution, but it feels almost scary to constantly have to be like, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm like annoying the director or like because the director has so much on their mind. So like how does that feel for you? Did has it changed now that you've done quite a few projects, or what was your beginning like in
Ego
this
as
work?
women, we are scared to hold space.
Yes.
It becomes holding up space. Like
Yeah.
you're taking up time, people's energies, efforts, movement. Like you feel like you're occupying space in a room is becoming a crime. It's actually quite varied sometimes.
Hmm.
Back when I was 21, 22, I myself wasn't like, of course, if you don't have enough experience, you're not sure of your footing, like how much you can
Hmm.
say, much you can just come. And the thing is that if there are 60 days of shoot, you're coming in for 1 day.
Hmm.
Who knows you for 1 day? The crew who is essentially driving the film, the crew who you will only kick out of the room because you
Hmm.
need an 8-person set.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult. Like early on, I used to find it very difficult to just tell people who, like the chief AD had to be like, please step out, sir.
Hmm.
Or the second AD who's running around between base and set उस बेचारे को मैं set से बाहर so I mean these things have happened, but earlier I used to be a little uncomfortable doing that, but then I
Hmm.
realized कि then there was this one particular set where I had a lovely um, writer showrunner. It was this show called, it's still not released, Jail Number 6. It was the
Okay.
working title at that point. And the writer showrunner, she came up to me and she was like, open your mouth, throw your voice out. You are running this set, no? I'm like, yes, ma'am. Say it. And then I realized my life became very easy. You don't need to be the guy on the mic who's yelling.
Hmm.
You just need to be sure of the fact that this is your job to tell people to leave the room now and it has to be followed.
Hmm.
Because it is simply protocol, it is procedure. You are doing your job.
Hmm.
I think that was 2 3 years back that I started to like actually like command that presence
Hmm.
because it becomes important. Everybody otherwise on the side, if you don't walk in with that energy, then it gives liberty for everybody around to pass a comment. That comment might be heard by an actor. That comment might deter you to do your job properly because some random art assistant is not listening to you because they feel like they can say anything.
Hmm.
So all of these factors, like, you have to keep your eyes and ears open, and that is true for set. I mean, in general, if there is a new intern on set, they get bullied left, right, and straight for some reason or the other. I don't know. Rite of passage. Please don't make it anybody's rite of passage. Just tell.
Yeah.
And I think more of my experience has been with the fact that it's very triggering for men to see a person in their early 20s instruct you about sex,
Yeah.
telling you what is okay, not okay.
Yeah.
So I have been at the butt end of some microaggressions that are completely unnecessary.
Hmm.
Or people feel like, oh, she's an easy hit on.
Hmm.
But I've had somebody, a DIT person coming up to me. Sorry, I need to make this bigger. So now
Yeah.
one DIT person has come up to me, and this is around 22, okay? Peak raging, peak like rebel, woo, सबको समझा देंगे kind of energy. And this person comes up to me and they're like, so you're an intimacy coordinator. You must be doing a lot of sex. Do you do a lot of yoga for doing that sex? I'm like,
What the hell?
how dare you? Who are you? हो कौन आप? पढ़ाई करके आओ.
That's crazy.
Like, ask for other people. I'm not saying you Google. Ask for other people before coming up to this new person you've just met on set. You've not even met. You've just walked up to me. We've not
I
even.
mean, doesn't sound like a question at all. Like, doesn't sound like
It
a
just sounds like I can
information.
punch my fantasy land thoughts into you and see if I get something back.
Hmm.
And that's unnecessary.
Hmm.
So, yeah, this being. And I think over time, I've just learned how to deal with it. Nowadays, if somebody's trying to like pull one on me, I'll straight up be like, दिक्कत है क्या कोई? पूछना है मुंह पे पूछो, मैं भी तुमको ये आगे पीछे क्या खेल रहे हो?
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, the reaction is that once you throw it back at them, they're like, oh my god, this ladki is thoda bach ke rahe. Good. I don't want your nonsense. I don't want it feeding into my ears.
Hmm.
Have an opinion that is required for the scene or on set, I'm more than happy to entertain it. But if you are just causing a problem, then sorry, I need to plug my charger in.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, is it like easier to sort of assert yourself? I mean, you are also an actor, and the kind of projects you must be doing are very different because you are still sort of trying to establish yourself as an actor, and you are quite established at this point as an intimacy coordinator. You have so many projects under your belt. So how do the two help each other out, or where do you feel like more able to sort of take up space?
The thing is that I've been acting for far longer than I have been working
That's
as an
true.
intimacy coordinator. I've been acting since like 10th grade school musicals that I did take seriously, even at that point.
Yeah.
So, like, it was never something that I didn't do. I'm way more comfortable as an actor. But of course, like, I've learned my way with intimacy also. And acting has always been through theater and more recently ads and films and being more on set. But I think the base experience is just the fun of acting. So I'm at ease when I'm an actor. You put me on a small set or a large set, it will not change anything inside me that much because I'm like comfortable in that space. It's my territory. But as an intimacy coordinator, the more I worked on set, because there are so many other big professional people at play and who are looking at you as a job role they have no idea about. Then it requires a little bit, then I think that comes because you're the person pushing for this kind of a job role which nobody knows about. So you are the person who's satisfying everybody's interest and intrigue. So I feel that is different when I'm acting as opposed to when I'm working as an intimacy coordinator. The thing is that I purely did intimacy coordination as an exercise to feed my brain, to
Hmm.
be able to say no as an and just being in the film business without and I know that for an actor who's coming from nowhere, who's not essentially coming from a cultural family, knowing that you don't have those contacts or sources and to put you in a place which is helpful. I'm not saying you have to be like a Khushi Kapoor every time, just anywhere. Like, there is no relation to arts in my entire family tree. I am
Hmm.
literally the first one who's ventured into a creative artistic field. So, like, having known that, I knew that I would have to really work
Hmm.
and have myself seen as much as possible, which is why I wanted to like sort of strike a balance between being able to take up intimacy coordination gigs on my own time, and nothing becomes easier, like, it's not like everybody knows me so I'm getting the roles on a platter. That is still, it's not, it does not work.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I just know right now what I think helps the actor is the fact that, oh, I know this project is coming up, at least I can go up to a casting director and be like, can I audition? So I
Hmm.
still have to go out and get the auditions, which I would have been doing if I was an AD also.
Hmm.
But the thing is that I would rather have a niche,
Hmm. Hmm.
focus more on this, be able to give more time to acting. As an
Hmm.
AD, I would have never been able to do that.
Yeah,
It
that's
was a calculated choice. Because
yeah, I think it's a
it's
yeah, great
showing your
choice.
face, but you have to go back and do your work of meeting casting directors, sending your profile, giving the auditions, and that's essentially like the job till
Hmm.
you're on the bigger sets.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, what you said about this helping you say no as an actor, just like being able to choose your projects, right?
Nobody can randomly come and tell you things. Even like till date,
Hmm.
a week back, I got a call from the short film person who wanted me to do a particular role. And they called me for that role because I was an intimacy coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, sure, there are scenes of intimacy. I will
Okay.
have to read them. But
Hmm.
आप तो इंटीमेसी कोऑर्डिनेटर हो ना, न्यूडिटी व्यूडिटी चाहिए ना आपको, और इंटीमेसी कोऑर्डिनेटर की आप ही कर लोगे. I'm like, brother.
How many different ways could you get this wrong? Wow.
Yeah.
Right, so you are still like, this is helping you get more space, and you are still in the industry and keeping you connected while you're still looking for, you are still trying to get more projects as an actor. What is like, if you could give a picture of like what is a good day or a good time when you're getting projects, what your days look like when it's going well and when you're busy or however. Like I was saying, like the arc is so long to get there. So how do you like keep that feeling, or where do you get that feeling that, okay, this is like I am happy with what I'm doing, or I'm taking steps towards like what I want to do more?
So both the jobs are a freelancer's job.
Hmm.
So it kind of really gets to you on certain days. because at the end of the day, you are your brand, no, you are your product that you have to put out there so that it sells.
Hmm.
And even with intimacy, I think my processes are very similar for intimacy and acting both, because they apply to the same things, right? You reach out to a filmmaker, you speak with them, you tell them about your worldview, how you work, and that's how you get work.
Hmm.
And the same networking that an actor is doing is the same networking that a producer is doing for their film. So I think all of these processes are very similar in their nature. It does help sometimes when those people overlap,
Hmm.
but I think day, a good month would be essentially like three different projects of intimacy happening, because everywhere everybody's shooting on different timelines, and if I've gotten a good acting gig in the middle,
Hmm.
that's a fruitful month.
Hmm.
Sometimes it becomes interesting for me to compare ki, okay, this month I did so much intimacy work, so much acting work. This
Hmm.
month I did so much acting work, so much intimacy work. So how
Hmm.
am I feeling on these particular months? When I was doing very a lot of intimacy work, I am also then traveling. How many auditions
Hmm.
did I record that month?
Hmm.
Or did I get a shoot that was for acting this month? So that's how I sort of like try to balance it. कि खुद
Hmm.
देख लो इस महीने क्या कर रहे हो, and somehow the idea becomes to like balance it all out, to be able to just rent in Bombay and like a general life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like a luxurious life, but
Yeah.
nowhere close. But just like you shouldn't have to like think
Yeah.
twice before you really need this pair of jeans, huh? But yeah,
Hmm.
that has been also a factor.
Hmm. And I guess like, this thing that we were talking about that, it constantly feels like you're trying to be in film. That feeling of not being able to say, okay, I am a filmmaker or I am an actor, whatever it is for you. Like, and you're like, I'm still trying to be. So, like, but there are still moments when you feel like, okay, like, I am like what I want to be. I am here already. Like, I am doing the work. Has there been any moment like that when you felt like, okay, I can do this, not just I can, but, I'm already here, I am already doing this. So, like a moment of like satisfaction or any project where you felt like that sort of questioning feeling had dissipated.
This, I think, this imposter syndrome comes in mainly as an actor. Like it did come in as an
Hmm.
actor for me, because unless you're actually seen on screen, nobody recognizes you as an actor.
Hmm.
If you are 17, 18 years old and you go up to someone and say you're an actor, people laugh you off.
Yeah.
Because what actor? What are you talking about? That's not a real job, right? So, like, the job only manifests, your profession only manifests once you're on screen. You are not taken seriously as an actor. If somebody from you asks you, have I seen you in something? And you're like, no, not yet.
Hmm.
That has been an experience in the past, but the thing is that it comes down to as shallow moments of belief as changing what you do on Instagram. It is just, it's so bad. Like earlier, I used to write some potato or something. Then there was this phase where I was like, my face was pimply, and I don't know, some eruption had happened. I was struggling to give auditions. And my friends were very nice around me. And they were like, brother, you have to focus on your Instagram a little. Nobody's saying becoming an influencer, but just to put your pictures out and everything. And people are visiting your profile. You're here now. People are
Hmm.
seeing your profile. People are following you. You are also working as an IC. Like, just change it to something. Like, how will people ever understand? You have to give yourself that validation before somebody else comes and calls you something. So for like a whole year, mine was artist, but I think this was something that just helps you call it out to yourself, because when you're publicly presenting yourself, nobody is going to give you that respect till you give it to yourself. Is something, this is the hard truth that I have learned. till you go
Hmm.
and till you go and present yourself in a certain manner, who's there to believe you if you don't?
Hmm.
So I think that journey was there when I like got like a small acting gig for some random company that name I don't remember. And then and it barely paid me anything, but that was the first time I was actually seeing myself on an ad on a screen, and I was like, okay, you know what? This is the start. It has to happen more.
Hmm.
And yeah, and with intimacy coordination, the opposite was happening because there were two, three, so people knew who they were.
Hmm.
So then the other side was, actually, you're an intimacy coordinator. Na? I don't have to say I'm an intimacy coordinator. The other thing is happening. So I
Hmm.
was like for a while caught between like this. ये आइडेंटिटी ज्यादा हो रहा है इस लड़की को भी अटेंशन चाहिए all of that, yeah. It was weird. But then the balance got better in my head. Once it starts getting better in your head, that you know, like, okay, this is what you're doing, it takes time, you accept that, and move on, like doing.
So that feeling of like seeing your name on a visible project or seeing the full project come together and then like seeing what you had contributed to that. Was there any particular project or projects where you were like, when it finally came out, you were really happy with your work? Any particular scenes that you worked on?
There's this less known series called 4 Years Later.
Okay,
It's on Lionsgate right now, I think, and it was an Australian Indian project.
okay.
The directors were from Australia, but Indians who were from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And this project was Shahana Goswami and Akshayajit Singh. Beautiful makers, beautiful women, and and they wanted to detail every scene. And it was the story is basically of this couple, how they meet, they get married, then 4 years they spend away from each other, then they meet again, and then their love is lost, and the distance has taken over, and this guy is in Australia, so like life is happening to him, and their relationship over 4 years and how that has changed, how they would like have sex on have video sex, and then how it was when he was leaving. So it basically like got to see the journey of this couple over a long period of time. They're coming together, and I had two phenomenal actors,
Mm-hmm.
and the creators were like, let's go into this detail, this that detail, and the actors were so willing to submit. They were like, okay, I had this tattoo here, maybe we can do a scene like Shana she has a frangipani tattoo here, and she made it a character thing. She was like, nahi nahi nahi, yahan pe karte hain. To like he
Yeah.
puts her hand down here, so it's active participation from the actor,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to like choreograph the scene to the T, and the actors are like, okay, breath here, no, like one deep and heavy breath, they know, they've clocked it,
Okay.
and we've blocked it so well so that when it's happening on set, it's almost like you said, like a choreography. You just go in, and I am back at the shogun. I'm like, okay, one, two, three, four, because that's how also the camera is moving. That's how also the camera is turning. So I'm with the DOP over here, looking at the actors, looking over here, and I know like how they are moving. So you're able to, and that has some very distinct scenes. And I got to collaborate with an Australian intimacy coordinator. So she was doing the scenes in Australia, and I was doing the scenes in India. And I had a scene where, also I don't think it's done much, but we done a scene with full nudity for both actors. And that is true for Sister Midnight also. But the intimacy there was very limited.
Hmm.
Physical movement bit was very limited because the characters were far more essential, and they were like stoic people.
Hmm.
But for this, it was like a developed couple who had like a very deep relationship. And first sex, the day they leave, they separate, the day they've come back 4 years later. And those are crucial bits in any person's like life, I think. So that was very interesting for me.
And were there any other, like the on the other side, those kinds of experiences where you felt like, you're not able to contribute as much?
I have felt a lack of interest or involvement, and I think sometimes it's just protocol that you've hired someone and becomes very evident from the way the producer is speaking to you. If the director is offering you a welcoming spot on set to be a watchful eye, then you take that and you do your job.
Hmm.
Otherwise, sit in a corner, look out for your actors, look out if anybody else needs anything. If you're not being given the space on set, you can't fight for that space, because then the director will be like, who the hell is this person who's come to like
Hmm.
just why do they have a say, even why are they opening their mouth? And there are directors like that, like
Hmm.
why are you saying anything? So on those sets, I'm just like, you really need to know I feel like that's an on-set thing that I have learned, when not to speak on
Hmm.
set, when not to ghuso
Hmm.
somewhere on set. There are lots of people's egos, creative energies, situational dynamics at play that are happening. If you are new, also you're new, right? You've not been on the
Hmm.
set
Hmm.
every day.
Hmm.
Just so if the director is telling you that they need you to sit on the side and see what is happening, you do that. If they
Hmm.
are worse than that, if then just get paid for your day and leave.
Hmm.
Apologize to your actors. Also, there have been cases when the actors like keep the intimacy coordinator away.
Hmm.
So then you can only do so much. Again, it becomes about reading the room and then figuring out what you would want to do.
And the sort of the set that you were speaking about 4 years later, where you felt like that feeling that everyone is in sync and you are trying to sort of make creative choices, you're trying to create something that will really contribute to the story. Do you mostly come to it from like your training and your experience, or like are there sort of influences, like artistic influences, scenes that you have really loved? Like any films where you have thought that they have really got it right, like the intimacy has really done something to the story that you would like to share?
See, of course, like I have a few favorite references, but
Okay.
those are inspiration points. There are a few films that I really like I think Secret Life of Veronica and not Secret Life, Double Life of
Double
Veronica.
Life of Veronique. Oh, yeah, what a beautiful.
That particular director, I love his intimacy language. I think
Right.
Rostov, right?
Kislovsky.
Kislovsky. I
Yes.
hate names, but
Yeah.
it just one day. All of the Three Colors series, I think like that was one film where I loved the intimacy.
Hmm.
And I think for more recent works, Michelle Coel always does a great job with her whole narrative, I think. I May Destroy You, the person who created that. And
Sorry, what was the name of the
I May
film?
Destroy You.
Okay, okay, I've heard of this, yes.
Very crazy. That was the first time that I actually saw like a woman's panties with a pad being showed on screen. Like she's, and that's so refreshing, right? And then
Hmm.
someone comes and does something to her from the back. But the
Yeah, but that just that
yeah,
visual
that
language
flavor
is so new.
bravado is nice to watch. And I think normal people did a fairly decent, good job. But yeah, I think it's more about figuring out the language with the actors. Then the scene will become good.
Hmm.
When your director and actor are like giving, and you can find newer ways, and your
Hmm.
DOP is also on the same page, I think it's a good sale. I don't like to refer so much.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'll give you the look, feel, touch reference. Ki this is the zone we are looking at. Maybe we could try this particular action if the actors
Hmm.
really want to see something. But otherwise,
So, like you used the phrase intimacy language. I'm guessing like when you're giving these different parameters, so like the feel of it when you're trying to describe. So, what are the different kinds of things you describe? Like, is it like rhythm, speed, lighting, mood? Like, what all is there?
first, you start from what the characters are feeling, because that is going to translate into body language. Now, then there will be a certain intimacy language. When, let's say, for instance, when somebody is feeling shy, their head is always down, right? And you don't know how to make a move on somebody, so you essentially like squiggle into the other person. When somebody is feeling very confident, then you'll just go and grab that person. So I think that is where it starts, and that's where the language is. Also, what the character is this character, you'd make that call for your character. Now, is this character a freak in the sheets, or is this character completely opposite?
Hmm.
Is this character open with this particular person only in this entire narrative while having intimacy scenes with two, three other people also? Then you see what the relationship is. So, all of these factors paint the intimacy language, and also, like, there are different kinds of touch, right? How there's a hold, there's a grip, there's a feather touch, and these would all apply and go for different kinds of scenes.
Hmm.
It's like a grip. I know that this could possibly be a scene of intense passion or sexual violence. So that, and then from
Hmm.
that you move on and you decide what the other points of touch, what the other movement and choreographies are going to be.
And do these scenes also often like follow like an arc, like like the power play or like those sorts of things that you'll start at this point and end at this point? Is it also okay?
If the
Okay.
scene requires you to see power play, then those elements are added in. Like, then I will try to do those in different kinds of cuts or magnifications, give somebody the voice, take the voice away from somebody. And it's less physical then it becomes like a way more technical and a mental decision to make. You essentially have to show power, right? There are 47,000 ways of showing power. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to speak about Sister Midnight. When the intimacy comes in that film, it's like very sort of like you were saying, the characters are very stoic. It's the language of the film is such that there are almost no like close-ups or anything. It's mostly like that same wide shot. And because there's also that like sex is connected to that, sort of
Maybe a
the
thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, how was that experience? Because, like you were saying, when you have some limitations, that creates some room for creativity. So, how did that scene play out and under those like creative limitations, and how did you go about it?
I think my job on System Midnight was far more technical than creative. And that is also depends on what your filmmaker is more than what space they are giving you. Karan is somebody he had a storyboard outside the set for the entire day. So each scene, the storyboard, the main pages used to come up and go down. So he knew, and he had sketched them himself. So he knew frame to frame what he wanted. And he was like, okay, I need this much happening, and I need you to take care of the technical aspect of this. So my job then there had become actors' comfort, confidence, and just ensuring a close set. Like the job was far more technical than creative.
Hmm.
Because Karan knew exactly what he wanted. He knew even in terms of actors giving inputs, there was not much scope only because he just wanted her to get up and kiss and come back. How
Mm-hmm.
Radhika decides to do that, what pace with which she goes in, or the weirdness that she pulls off, is completely up to her. And that it's up to Ashok to give a reaction. What I had to tackle was there was full nudity for both actors. In that particular scene where they're on the bed facing and sitting down and she covers him. So they are fully nude. Essentially, then my job was to ensure that both the actors are very comfortable in their own bodies being in that condition. And Radhika's obviously worked a lot more than Ashok. And Radhika's very comfortable with her body. And that is not to give a blanket statement that she's comfortable with her body on that particular day. Maybe let's say she was comfortable with her body on that particular set. So it's very empowering that way also that Ashok also feels motivated. I'm in a workspace. This is a work thing. And he's a very polished actor. So he knows what he's able to offer. He was maybe not as out frontly not shy, but he was just there, like happily, okay, this, okay, back. Let's go. Done. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the job on that set was far more technical than a creative process because Karan is a director like that. He knows exactly what he wants, how much movement, how much action, how much they are getting up or how much they are sitting down even he is very.
I guess not to put like a huge burden on you or like intimacy coordinators, but you are with each project that you are doing, you are sort of shifting something. Even if, that's not entirely your job to shift the culture of the entire industry, but you are sort of contributing to that. And when you have entered this role, also, you came with that background. I mean, you wanted to work on gender and you studied sociology, all of your interests sort of came together. It might not be possible in each because you have to negotiate so many boundaries, but overall, what do you want to see, or what are the like your, those core ideas that sort of drive you in this like path that you're carving out for yourself in the projects you choose, in the way you negotiate with everyone?
Did you see Bads of Bollywood?
No, I did not. I've been hearing so much about it, but yeah, I did not see it.
So there's an episode with the third episode where Imran Hashmi comes and plays the intimacy coordinator, and then they do a couple of exercises, which is
Oh,
very
okay.
intense. That both the lead actors to fall in love. Now that's the thing. That is not our job. Our
Yeah,
job is in fact the opposite. You fall in
exactly.
love if you do, good for you, personal choice. But
Hmm.
our job is to sort of kind of protect you from any overburdening emotions that may impact your personal psyche.
Hmm.
These jobs exercises are done essentially for comfort. I love the joke that Imran Hashmi was the intimacy coordinator. Okay, I loved it. I was like, वो तो हमारे भी भगवान है ना. An educated kid of the 21st century has read up, has been exposed to media enough to know that this is not the actual job, this is a joke only. Even four other of my friends who are, let's say, engineers, lawyers, chefs, who still have read up will know that, okay, we are not from films, but aisa thodi hota hai. That question is there. But the rest of the country, which is mostly uneducated or does not have awareness, will never register something like this.
Hmm.
Then a person in a position of power has driven the joke but not clarified that it is a joke, so the entire profession is now a butt of jokes.
Hmm.
That is something that I feel like that I wish that we were able to create that mentality for the people who are higher up there within positions of power. But having said that, every single time that I am on a set, if you do your job correctly, people will notice the impact and then they will take away what is actually to be taken away. So I think that the most important thing is you know your job. You don't have to make anybody understand. Sometimes when you see two uncles who are a part of an intimacy scene who are not required in a particular shot have been sent away silently, that does more for like a person who doesn't know anything about the profession. They're like, oh, ye ho gaya, oh, that was cool. And this
Mhm.
happened to me in Xavier's where I had just sent off two boys because it was like a queer intimacy scene, and these two people, these two hostel boys walk in on them. And then they are not in that particular shot. And our DOP teacher, our cinematic teacher, had just come in and he was like, "Yes, karo, aisa karo." I was like, "Sir, can you please leave? I'm so sorry, but these two guys have never literally touched other men in their whole lives. They are standing here looking at my face. Can you please?" And then the set was empty. Then they were like, "अरे क्या हो गया क्या हो गया क्या हो गया?" So I saw that, and that was like
Hmm.
my first 1-2 months as an intimacy coordinator. And this was not even a professional side; it was a film school film being made. And then I realized that okay, the power of silence in this particular job, because silently you can change a lot of things without having to scream about it. Because the more you're screaming about it, the more you have to explain, the more you have to contest ideas. Once you've executed your idea and thing is happening smoothly, people are bound to notice that change. So yeah, I do feel like if enough people are exposed to hiring an intimacy coordinator, which is a producer's mentality change, a filmmaker's mentality change, we talk about these things. Two things are very correlated. Everything has a ripple effect, but there are also people who validate that ripple to exist, and that is a very important factor. Like if let's say if we had like actors who I have worked with, if somebody like a Radhika or a Shahana would turn around and be like, we are credible actors, we are amazing people, and we don't want ICs, then it would have been a very fucked up thing for any future upcoming actor. And they are. They know fully, they are very aware of their bodies. But the fact to realize that there is another person in play here, there are other dynamics at play here, is the thing that makes a difference. So that's the thing I feel. It's a two-way street. Your people won't see the change if the people facilitating the not supportive. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess this made like a huge news also. Like in Anora, Mikey Madison refused an intimacy coordinator, and there is always that like rise and like fall kind of a thing that okay, when there was this feeling that okay, lots of things are going to change because now intimacy coordination is a thing, like so much exploitation is going to hopefully, boundaries are going to be more respected, the culture is going to shift, and then now this another sort of wave of people being like, no, we want to like be more creatively free or whatever, when like this idea that any like these are basic boundaries, right? That you are helping sort of assert. And this idea that boundaries come in the way of creativity.
Now look at it like this, Damayanti. If a male actor rejects intimacy coordinators, he is considered to be a pervert. If a female actor rejects an intimacy coordinator, the starting point of the idea is screwed up in the manner that you are assuming that only the female actor needs an intimacy coordinator, therefore you are going and asking the female actor. Because you are assuming that the male actor is never in check with their boundaries, so they need to be kept in check. The
Exactly.
assumption starts wrong. You are assuming that the female actor needs an intimacy coordinator, therefore the question is why are female actors rejecting intimacy coordinators?
Mm,
Second, not every woman is right. Not
mm,
every woman is fully accepted or well informed or well educated about what a particular function of anything is. That is true for any human being. I think rejecting boundaries, saying that, oh no, I'm comfortable with all of this, is a very unaware stance to take.
Hmm.
Because then you have to realize that you are not the center of the universe. There are other factors that come with an intimacy scene. There's your scene partner, your director, your creative process, sure, but beyond that, there's a costume person who's coming and fixing, getting your head between the two people over here and
Hmm.
trying to put on your boob tape.
Hmm.
So I think it comes from a point of either unawareness or non cognizance of these factors that you can say that I don't need an intimacy coordinator. It's a
Hmm.
self POV saying that I, as an actor, have very comfortable with my boundaries. But there are other
Hmm.
people at play.
Hmm.
If it's disrupting your creative process, then it's a collaboration error. You are
Hmm.
you are not aware of the job, what the job portfolio is, how the help is coming in, how it changes other dynamics, and you were saying, I am so convinced with my boundaries that I don't need an intimacy code. Great.
Hmm. Hmm.
Be able to have that kind of knowledge and information about your body is any I as an actor aspire to have. And my boundaries keep changing and shifting. Like I am not the same person like I am like before I used to date. My body doesn't have the same neuro memory.
Hmm.
So it's a thing, right? More often than not, if the actor is aware of that and is saying they have their own boundaries sorted, good for you. But there might be somebody else in the room who's not.
Hmm.
That was your question, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was the
Does it ever also happen that, when you are signing on to a project as an actor, you have to sort of, like you are saying, okay, I'm okay with this kind of scene and this kind of scene, but how those scenes are going to play out, like, depends a lot on, let's say, like, whether there's going to be an intimacy coordinator, who's going to be the coordinator. So, like, do those things, like, ever sort of create, I mean, are there ever any conflicts about this?
about who's
Or
going to be an intimacy, who's going to be the IC or
Or, like, let's say this kind of thing, that boundaries of a actor might be changing, or something based on the conditions of the set, something might be changing. So have you encountered those kind of
yeah,
situations?
that is something we say in our workshop at the very onset. Ki your consent and your boundaries are subject to change. It's never constant. It's always a negotiation. And they are
Hmm.
subject to change because you can't assume that sometimes it's so weird, yaar. A lot of अरे उसने तो उस scene में उसने तो she was wearing a bra and that, and this has happened on big sets, Damayanti, big sets where
Hmm.
an A-lister actor has been assumed कि just because she was wearing a bra and that she'll be okay wearing a bra in this. No, that's not.
Hmm.
Her body might feel differently. She might be feeling differently. The filmmakers are different. That might have been her best friend. This is some stranger dude who she has to work with because her manager said so.
Hmm.
So all of these factors are there now. Like the kind of there have been sets where like this particular actor, it was quite a scarring project for both the actor and me. I don't want to name them, but she's one of the most liberated people I have ever worked with. Like even for me as Ankita, little girl looking up to this girl, I was like, bro, I want to be as strong and as independent and as powerful as her. And she was so uncomfortable because I knew, and it was a photo shoot thing that we were doing. And every single time the DOP and the director used to send me back saying, give us something more netty, give us something more this. And I was like, bro, don't take off your clothes. Just don't. And I know because she's also uncomfortable, and I can see these guys are just saying more and more and more and more. What more? Even your concept shoots, I'm actually like, she's not okay to show her nippies. I'm not gonna force her to. I'm giving you like a layer of something on it so that you can get what you want and she can feel safe. But you are like, nahi, wo utaro hi. Then I
Hmm.
know where your head is in the gutter, no? So those are calls that you realize you can make. And
Hmm.
your boundaries are going to change, and that's completely permissible. On workshop, I might have said okay to kissing, but between that, me and my co-actor might have fought, and I don't feel like kissing him anymore, and I know the shoot is the next day. So what do I do in that case? How do I escalate it? How do I figure it out with the director and DOP? Ki, you know what, we've come here, but this can't happen. We can't force them. What is the next idea that we can do? So the thing is that I think biggest fads about our job is something people feel that Our job is to convince somebody to do something. And the second thing is they feel that if there is an intimacy coordinator on set, no kind of sexual harassment will happen. We are holding up a brave space where you are able to voice, where you are able to say something. But essentially, I cannot be someone's brain condom. I will put every stop, every barrier, have every discussion with you so that something like this does not happen. I will talk to you about your traumatic childhood. I will make sure that your co actor is informed. I will take the emotional burden to make sure you are safeguarded. But at the end of the day, if somebody's brain flips on set and they decide to do an action that was clearly discussed not to be done, then in that moment, I can't be your brain's condom, right? And I keep saying this because I have put every stop in place. You are making a personal choice. You are doing something that you were asked not to do.
Hmm.
I can't go and stop you, because in that moment I'm at the Shogun.
Yeah.
Your co-actor knows what is to be done. You have just decided to go ahead and thrust anyway. We discussed we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
not going to, right? And
Hmm.
then, so those are two things that I feel like people really need to know.
Yeah. That's a way too huge of a burden.
Yeah.
And like one person can't replace like a whole like safeguarding mechanism that should be there for, sexual harassment. Is there any project that like you've said no to as an intimacy coordinator? Like, or that experience has not happened?
I have.
Okay.
But these are things that happen, like I feel like there are some validity is a very important thing in filmmaking, I feel. And a lot of people are writing a lot of weird things, a lot of people are writing a lot of credible things. So when I read a script, I know what the script is about. There's this one script that came my way where 40 pages were 40 pages of sex. And the writing, whatever dialogue was horrible. I can't read beyond 3 pages. मैं क्या करूँगी इसके साथ मेरे को नहीं करना ये तुम purely and my conversation with the director was so scary. He was like, yeah, I just want to show my sexual life, and I was like, bye bye. Bros. And mostly it's not. You just make that choice. Like how as female actors you receive creepy scripts and you know it's
Mm,
creepy, so you don't do it.
mm,
Is the same thing.
mm. And like as an actor, I mean, there are projects that you have to do to sort of keep yourself, acting. Like, and like, what are projects that you are like excited for, or like where do you see yourself going? I also know that, I mean, you have a like long background in theater, so is that something that you are still like looking to be a part of, or you're mostly planning to act in film?
I'm always looking to be a part of theatre, but
Okay.
life in Bombay is expensive. It only allows me
Mm,
to do theatre to a certain extent because everybody's lives are different. No, I don't have the same kind of luxury of just being able to do theatre 30 days a month. If I would have, I no, probably I wouldn't have done it because I like films a lot.
okay.
Theater is great practice. I love it
Mm,
because you just keep traveling with a character, right? And you let that character really breathe inside you, and you're able to reach depths that essentially on a film set you can't for like 2 months. The more you think about something, the more you spend time with something. It's a natural process for that to become a part of you more. And the same amount of work you can put into a film, but all of the things that you have learned in theater over the years are the things that you're doing and putting that learning in to achieve a particular scene on film for which you will only be given like a week or two to prep.
hmm,
So I think that is a very distinct thing. I can only afford to do theater so much right now
hmm,
because it does not pay bills. Yeah, like I would have liked to have my time more divided between theater and film, but I think I enjoy film acting.
hmm,
It reaches more people. You are able to meet more people and give yourself that many opportunities. The network is way more vivid. The languages are more transient. Like cinema has its own language, right? Even if I watched a Bengali film, so even if I watched like a Malayali film and didn't understand shit out, the film would carry me. So that's something that I really like. And what else? There was something you asked.
what kind of projects are you excited for? How are you choosing your projects? Like,
Choosing is not a luxury I have yet.
right.
But yeah, of course, I can make a decision as to key this particular role does not feel comfortable if there's like, let's say they're demanding some weird amount of intimacy from me, like
Yeah.
that thing that I spoke about, the icing.
Hmm.
So then I'm at a point to say no. Sorry, I don't think of this.
Yeah. I mean, I completely get the like that at this point, like you are, the more the hustle of it all, like audition more, get more roles, like do as much work as possible, like because I am also at that stage, and like most people I know are in that stage. And sometimes, like, a project that on paper doesn't sound like very exciting ends up being very exciting or like very satisfying. So like just that journey like of each project that you do, like what kind of projects are like, satisfying to you or feels like okay, you're getting closer to what you want to do, and like what do you see yourself doing as an actor that you're looking forward to?
I think I do have like two films sort of coming up, and those are
Ooh,
small parts. And it was my
awesome.
really before when this year started. No, I was like, I cannot wait like 6, 7 years for a film to get out. It's just, I'm very impatient as a person. It's not a pipe dream.
Yeah.
You just have to put in that amount of work to be able to. And I'm not in a place to make any comments about it because I'm still like, every person around me is bigger and better than me. Every filmmaker I
Hmm.
want to work with. So that is also there. And the people who are my peers, I would love to work with them because I know that their visions are great and they are my peers and we are all in the same loop of things where everybody's trying to get better. So as long as it comes from that intention, I think that is the kind of work that I'm trying to do right now. Because I don't honestly, I'm not in a position to make calls unless something feels like discomfort to me.
Hmm.
Any work is good work, any work is exposure, and if it is not like taking anything away from me, I think it's worth doing.
Hmm.
So yeah, small roles, but
Excited to see that. Amazing. And like for someone who's like trying to get into acting in Bombay, like what would you say is like the path that you followed, and like what were the challenges, or like right now how is it, like are you doing a particular number of auditions in a week? Like do you try to hit a target? What is
I think there's a very complex thing going on with casting directors and
okay?
filmmakers. The game is constantly changing. We don't live in a world where a Shah Rukh Khan magic can happen anymore. So any actor
Yeah.
coming to Bombay saying "मेरे को Shah Rukh Khan बनना है," I think that world doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
Because there are micro dramas, there are dramas, there are theaters that are like the same off Broadway thing happening here also. There's a league of this kind of actors, that kind of actors, Parsi theater, Gujarati theater, Prithvi theater, and Veda Kunba theater. Right? So, like, all of these things keep shifting. And also, when you of like earlier, you knew that a film like Chittagong is not going to attract a star cast, right? They're not going to attract A-listers. But today, a film like Homebound does attract an A-lister. So, like earlier, you knew Mukesh Chabra was hiring a star cast. But now Mukesh Chabra's game has also changed. He's also hiring actors who look like normal people who are actors. As opposed to, you don't know what the combination of the producers are going to be. Being like, okay, this many roles we can give to A-listers, this many role we can take new actors, and that shifts the casting game every single time because you don't know which casting person you're running to, and everybody is changing with the times. There are very few casting directors who stick to their filmmakers, who know what they're doing, who will take new actors. There are few casting directors who are just mixing it up. There are casting directors for film and series, the ones that will dominate Amazon and Prime and your theaters. Those are 3, 4 in Aram Nagar. But the others who are working with independent filmmakers, now there are cohorts of independent filmmakers and producers. Who are they working with in their common circles? Where are they now suddenly bringing in an A-lister actor? Or are they choosing to still work with actors who are fresh, who are new? So I think understanding all of this has been more a part of the journey. Like you need to know what is going on.
Okay.
That's you will of course recording your auditions and all of that. A good day is when I have like 4 5 auditions a day. I love those days. A bad day is when maybe I have one audition or no auditions. And that is also not a bad day because that day I am then spending reaching out to people saying, you know what, I've done this work. Can I audition for something? Do you have something? Are you writing something?
Hmm.
Every day you are basically doing R&D and outreach and development only.
So there's like a lot of complex, like, understanding what's going on with the producers and the casting directors is something that like an
And
actor
nobody has
really needs
a
to
straight
be
answer.
ahead of. Sorry?
Nobody has a straight answer.
Yeah.
किसी के पास जवाब नहीं है. सब confused है.
And do you have like a community of like other people, like actors or, people who are on the same boat, or do you feel like it's like a sort of isolating experience, or like how has your experience been?
Sure, you use the word isolating. It's a very isolating experience for sure, but not. Having said that, there is also immense support from friends, and like I think the community of actors is the people who are from theatre because you are in the ground together, you have a lot of fun, so they are always there. But your other filmmaker friends, the people who are ADs, DOPs, it's a very different kind of struggle. Like they are able to hang together and open their laptop and have fun while drinking or having a beer and still work. But at the same time, if I need to do that, let's say around 11 this time, like 11, 1, 2, whatever. At this time, if I can't be chilling at somebody's place smoking. Because I know if an audition comes, I will have to jump into my hair and makeup costume and get there. And it
Hmm.
can't be done in the presence of other people walking, talking, chilling, smoking. Just so, and I know that I have to go to the gym at night because it's become a part of my practice. I feel better about my own body. I feel more confident getting into costumes if I am looking and feeling a certain way. So that's a part of your individual discipline that has caused me a lot of rifts with my friends because I don't expect them to understand. Also, constant rejection is something that, of course, everybody faces rejection, but constant rejection is something that I feel only like actors, musicians, and writers face. So that's a whole different kind of a struggle. Like for an AD, you are able to get at least 3 gigs in a month if you're an ad AD.
Hmm.
It'll come from somewhere. You make one pitch deck, your cash is there. But for an actor, that's not the way it works, right?
Hmm.
If you've not gotten an acting gig the whole month, but others have, and your friends are still your friends, the life is a little different because
Hmm.
the requirements are different.
Yeah.
So those things do exist. I won't deny.
Hmm.
But then, like your other actor friends who are in the same boat, they're there.
Well, other actors also around your like who are in the same boat as you also trying to do, a technical job or find another niche to help keep themselves in the industry, or have you made a really smart choice that
No,
others
no,
are not?
everybody is doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it. Either they are working a corporate job or they are doing
Okay.
social media management or marketing because it is essential to support yourself as an actor for
Hmm.
mental sanity.
Hmm.
An actor's job is to be open to the world and have an experience of the world and be able to love people truly. If you're not able to give yourself that food, that basic nutritional requirement that you
Hmm.
need, or the kind of if you need to sit down in a park and just sketch and look up at the sky or the stars and just feel happy, I think that is a very important part.
Hmm.
If you're not able to afford that, your mental health takes a huge toss and then you're not able to deliver. Because you are constantly show on your face ना मतलब नहीं चल रही है अच्छी जिंदगी, so everybody needs that financial stability to just give them that agency to keep doing what they do because that life is only like not only but a lot of rejections, a lot of being able to take care of yourself and being there for yourself. It's a
Hmm.
very solitary, isolating thing. Nobody's going to understand. Like, even your family is not going to understand why you sit here day after day trying to record 3 auditions in a day and you're feeling happy after 3 auditions. क्या ही कर लिया bro जिंदगी के साथ. So, I think that way it's important to have a job. And lots of people in Bombay, I've had people who have gone to pop dates one day and this dude is like, please come watch our play. And young dude
Lovely.
for like just to keep his cash flowing. So yeah, everybody's doing something or the other. People are so many actors are ADs. Even Saif Ali Khan's son was an AD before he became an actor.
This has been a really wonderful conversation. Honestly, like it's been so interesting and it's so good to hear about like I mean as a person who's like kind of outside the industry and like trying to still like be a part of it, still make films, like hearing about all this, understanding how it works is like really helpful. I'm sure it'll be helpful to like a lot of people as well. Is there anything else that you would like to add or
No,
say?
I'm good. Thank you so much. It was so
Thank
lovely
you.
talking to you after so long.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
your curiosity is very, very kind and cute. It's so, it's very, thank you so much.
Okay, all the best for the rest of your day. Bye bye.
All the best to you.